So I'm thrilled to be here. My name is Dee Rincon, and perhaps you came for your career, maybe a friend, a family member, maybe even yourself. Whatever your motivation is, pat yourself on the back. Thank you for coming out this cold night. I'm very grateful. And if I were a professor at CCM, I'd give you 3 credits. Seriously though, tonight I'm here to talk about a very serious and crucial subject, mental health. Life is precious. Life is valuable. Life is a miracle. But for some people, they're so frail, they take their own lives. And I've been searching for answers for almost 2 years. Our beautiful, beloved daughter, talented artist, model, photographer, who owned her own business, died from depression and anxiety in February 2017. When we were preparing for Marissa's funeral, Father Tarantino said, "We're going to celebrate Marissa's life." I went home and I found artwork I had never seen before. I felt proud, I felt good, and it was an enlightening moment. I realized Marisa had given me a big job to do, to be the voice she couldn't be, and help those struggling with mental health and educate others. It was easy for me to give the eulogy, and I thank Father Tarantino for his inspiration, and hence, Marisa's voice, fight for life. Here are some statistics I want to give you to make you aware. You're going to love my fancy prop. 45,000 Americans die a year of suicide. But wait. 500,000 attempt their life and end up in the ER room. 121 die a day. 1 in 5 have a mental health illness. It's the 10th leading cause of death, the 2nd leading cause of death in teens. More men die from suicide, however, more females attempt. The highest death rates are from age for women, 45 to 64, and for men, 75, so the highest rate. 30% of the population is on antidepressants, and 30% do not take their medicine because of side effects. Therefore, it's underreported because of opioid epidemic, and sometimes the records are not accurate. What are the risks for suicide? 90% of people who die by suicide have a mental health condition, such as major depression, anxiety, bipolar, substance use, conduct, eating disorders, schizophrenia, OCD, and they can overlap. You can have more than one. 30 to 40% who die by suicide have attempted before. And those who've attempted suicide have a higher risk to complete suicide in 5 years. So my daughter in 2013 had an issue, 14, 15, 16, 17, 4 years. Marisa should have been red flagged as high risk for suicide. The warning signs. You'll see sadness, hopelessness, irritability, recklessness, lack of interest, poor grades, weight loss or gain, trouble sleeping, not sleeping at all for days, fatigue, worthlessness, difficulty concentrating, recurrent thoughts of death, giving possessions away, and having a plan. And there's more. The causes of suicide? Research shows that the brain of someone who has mental illness is different. There are changes that go on in the brain. But the good news is, it can be helped. Onset of puberty, hormones, stress, trauma, physical or sexual abuse, family history, genetics. My opinion, after some of the reading I've done, is I'm wondering about all the neurons in our brain. Maybe the pathways are blocked. Maybe they short circuit. So we need to do more research on this. And it's like the brain is having a heart attack. The brain betrays this person. They're thinking. And perhaps maybe there is no cause. So why the increase in suicide? We have to do more research. And our kids aren't able to put their feelings into words, to understand, to know how to cope. We must do more coping techniques for our kids. Their experiences are narrow. They have a stigma of shame and embarrassment. They hide their feelings and they don't talk about it. And they don't get the medical help that they need. And even in adults too. We tell our kids to be independent, and then we wonder sometimes why they don't talk to us. You ever see the comic strip Zits? It brings hope sometimes. And it's taken me 50 years to get it right. Our social media has placed stress on our society, and yet it's also terrific at the same time. We need interfacing, the real person to talk to. Let me tell you about my journey. In the fall of 2015, I was very sick. It took doctors 4 months to find that I had a rare tumor by my heart. I had 3 procedures, a biopsy, open heart surgery, and a left adrenalectomy. I have to be monitored yearly for recurrent tumors, and I have to tell you, I'm fine. I'm doing well. I just had my CAT scan. A year later, in 2017, my husband and I were walking humbly in Florida, thanking the good Lord I had survived this ordeal, no cancer, when I received that phone call from Marisa's boyfriend that she had taken her life, but the medics were trying to revive her. Her boyfriend let her go home that day when she was extremely upset. He didn't believe Marisa would take her life. And I believe that Marisa had stresses that were overlooked by others. It was the worst day of our family's life. In shock, trembling, sleepless nights, incessant crying, losing a child to suicide is like a wounded wolf in the woods, howling for relief. The pain is so intense. I wondered how I'd survive the first 6 months, if I'd survive, as there is a high risk of suicide for survivors. Marisa died from anxiety and depression. It wasn't always like that. She was shy, but she was happy. She was that perfect child. We did all the normal things that families do. Camping trips, vacations, rode our bikes together, celebrated birthdays, family holidays with cousins, played board games, saw movies, gave them dance and clarinet lessons, ate pizza on Friday night, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, train rides from grandparents. We loved them. Carnivals, we played in the snow. We helped them with homework, attended every back-to-school night, volunteered to be a good role model for our community. We comforted our children when sick, got them those ugly braces so that they'd look good. Gave them a faith with the 10 Commandments. We taught our children how to drive, and were there for them for their first accident. Proms, boyfriends, girlfriends, college SATs, their first job. With the impact on the family, there's a lot of guilt and blame. I asked myself over and over, did we do enough for them? Did we do too much for them? We were not perfect parents, but we did the best we knew. But we didn't know certain things. We didn't understand about mental health. And a perfect example I have to share with you is about a counselor in my bereavement group whose father died by suicide, and he said, I didn't think it was that serious. God put him there for me to see, to hear this. We deny, I deny. We must take mental health more seriously, and it's hard for us to believe that someone would take their life. We needed to learn more about mental health, not to feel awkward, ashamed, stigma. When you tell someone you have cancer, people offer help. But when you tell someone you have mental health illness, they back away. They don't know how to handle it. We need to shatter the stigma of mental health, and we need to stop backing away, and we need to talk about it. When a problem arose, we took our family to counseling. Marisa became depressed in high school. We entrusted the doctor in counseling and medicine and believed she'd be okay. She graduated from CCM in Montclair with high honors. She found herself. She owned and operated her online vintage clothing business, modeled and photographed herself for 7 years. She was engaged, and we looked for wedding gowns together. In 2013, Marisa was struggling. Again, help. We received help, her counselor, medicine. And I asked Marisa if she wanted to talk about it. She said no. If I could go back to that day, I'd be more prepared to ask her open-ended questions. Tell me how you feel, Marisa. Tell me how your medicine is affecting you. Can I help? Does it hurt? What's bothering you? And there were times I did that, times I didn't do that, and times she wouldn't talk to me. I've had 5 trainings with the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. They're a great organization. I've learned if you see someone struggling, it is okay to ask them if they're thinking about suicide. It opens the doors. I wish I had known this. Grieving family. I could not have survived this ordeal, this trauma, without my Randolph community, my family, my friends, my church, who were there for me the first year and even today. I decided to be constructive, and I contacted County College of Morris, CCM, because I was concerned about the increasing suicide rate. I thought if CCM would exhibit Marisa's artwork, it might help the students and the community. Graciously received, CCM had a 7-week exhibit. This opened the door for me. I met people who lost loved ones, which led me to be a member of Morris County Stigma Free. And that in turn helped me to promote the awareness by more exhibits, more art exhibits. And this is all healing for me. The in-between times I cried, I drove up and down Route 10 aimlessly. I didn't attend church regularly. I began to go thrifting for Green Depression vintage glassware because Marisa used to do that. Went to Ukulele Fest, recreated a mural on canvas that Marisa did for Randolph High School. I attended a Fish concert, an old lady went to a Fish concert. Can you imagine that? It was great. I played her Lady Gaga CDs. I met her artist friends, and it was a way for me to feel close to Marisa, see what she saw. I enjoyed it, and at the same time, I had a deep sadness. One night, the words just came to me: dance for lost loved ones, dance for mental health. A fundraiser of line dancing and Zumba. I raised almost $4,000 for the Marisa Rincon Memorial Scholarship for the Arts at CCM, and I am so grateful to Randolph community, my friends, and the food vendors. Books have comforted me a lot in this journey, and I want to talk to you about a few of them. I have on the table, I have a little card, and it has the books on the back and suggestions. And this is Marisa's artwork, by the way. One book is called The Instinct to Heal by Dr. David Schreiber, and he talks about diet. He found out that he had a brain tumor, and he found out that he lived longer because he believed because of his diet and alternative medicine. And there are 4 instincts that help you heal in your life, and community is one of them. Another book is I Wasn't Ready to Say Goodbye, and that's all about, especially it's suicide, but it's other deaths. The third book is Too Soon Old, Too Late Smart, 30 Tips That Will Help You. This Dr. Gordon Livingston lost 2 of his children, not 1. Loving What Is by Brian Cady. Very interesting book. Why do we make ourselves suffer? And why do we fight reality? The Unquiet Mind by Dr. Kay Redfield Jamison, an authority on bipolar. She has bipolar disease. Lost Connections by Johan Harvey, and he has a real axe to grind about medicine. And he thinks there should be alternative ways. He also believes that the community is a big help. And he was on antidepressants for 13 years. Please take home tonight the suggested reading and information from the American Foundation of Suicide. In summary, have a purpose, keep busy, be constructive, rest, 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 meditate, make time for yourself, get a massage, do yoga, meditate, and talk about it. Go to bereavement groups. Educate yourself about mental health. Be supportive of your children, your family, young adults. Be vigilant. Look for signs of suicide. Be their advocate for mental health. Attend American Foundation of Suicide and NAMI meetings. Get good counseling. Learn about medications and alternative medicine. Learn about diet, coping skills, as I mentioned before. Know the HIPAA law. If you can, have your young adult put your name on the HIPAA form, because if you don't, you can't help them. They may not want your help, but it is a relief to know. In 2015, Marisa took pills. I did not know about it. Nobody told me. Nobody shared it with me. I mean, it really breaks my heart that the HIPAA law took a priority over helping a family, that there was no intervention. So we have to be advocates for ourselves. And Marisa didn't have a will. She had no life insurance. And we had to go to the surrogates to be her administrator, to settle her estate, and that can be very costly. So what I'm going to tell you tonight is, please shatter the stigma for mental health before it shatters you. I'm still grieving, but my whole heart feels there's hope. I hope I have helped you tonight and that you've taken home some good suggestions. And I am Marisa's voice. Fight for life. Thank you.